Welcome classic rock fans to another episode of Classic Song Review, where classic tracks are excavated and explored. And for today's episode I'd like to look at a song called That's Entertainment by The Jam. Of course the song was originally released on the 7th of February 1981 and featured on the band's album Sound Effects. And like a lot of songs on that album, there's certainly undercurrents of pop psychedelia. In fact, the only electric guitar on this song is actually a guitar that's sort of played backwards to give it that kind of vibe. I read somewhere, of course, that the title That's Entertainment in part comes from the kind of a subversion of the famous Hollywood song That's Entertainment. Whereas, of course, the Hollywood song exudes a sense of decadence and splendour. Paul Weller's song is a kind of a minimalist slice of urban working class existence. Paul Weller has gone on record to say that the song was written, relatively easily. It came quite naturally to him. It was actually based on, I think it was actually based on a poem by Paul Drew of the same title. So all these were kind of inspirations that fed into this song. I think what is going on here also is in the early 80s there was a tendency to, we were inundated with sort of documentaries and things that kind of romanticised British working class life. This song is very much a slice of realism. It's a beautiful piece of urban writing that sort of depicts the reality of sort of living in some of these inner city areas. What is really great about this song is the sense of the moment, that sense of immediacy about it, and that's in part cultivated by the fact that the song is actually written in the present continuous tense. It has a kind of a listing sort of effect to it, really. It's kind of an itinerary of urban deprivation. And that kind of sort of bombardment of impressions that we get from this song, it's and also the way it's written, the absence of the verb to be is just absent in this song. So we get it does create, as I said, a kind of a listing effect. And that kind of feeds into another undercurrent of this song, and that's that sense of boredom and inertia, as well as the desire to escape such a life. For example, the line "wishing you were far away." One thing I think that's really clever about the song is its use of dissonance, and it creates that by using half rhymes or no rhymes at all. Writers and poets and songwriters indeed have often used this technique to create a jarring effect or a sense of unease, if you like. And I think obviously, if you use full rhyme all the time, you just end up with a kind of a sing-song quality to it. And this is obviously an effect that Paul Weller wanted to avoid, which certainly would not sit well with what is essentially a piece of urban realism. What is also interesting about the song is its appeal to the senses, what you can see. As I said, you're very much in the moment, but also what you can hear is very important. The stray dog howling, the baby wailing, the screaming siren. Now, sirens don't scream, of course, that's an example of personification, but it's quite a poignant example because it exudes a sense of menace. Also, I mean, the lyrics you get often, he talks about a police car, not a specific police car, a police car, a screaming siren, a dog howling. It gives the impression of a continual sort of noise around oneself. I remember reading Sketches by Boz by Charles Dickens, and he does the same thing. He writes about another cat crosses his path. So it gives the reader the impression of this is just one of many, and a sense of something being overpopulated with impressions and sound. And I think Paul Weller accomplishes this perfectly on the song. Anyway, obviously it's a great song from a great album. Anyway, thank you for watching an episode of Classic Song Review. Click like, subscribe, check out the Facebook page. But more importantly, please do keep listening.